everyone, welcome to the OddsJam Campus Show presented by oddsjam.com. I'm your host, Bobby.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to our inaugural show. We're really excited to bring you guys all the action from the college basketball and college football season. We'll be taking you all the way through the national championship game in college football and then all the way through March Madness. So we're excited to bring you the action, talk about the games and how you can use OddsJam Sports, oddsjam.com to find great value in your betting throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know we talked about this in the trailer, but I know that college basketball specifically is the least profitable sport to bet on. So using OddsJam, we can kind of help find some good plays and kind of not quite get hit quite as hard with the wider variance that happens in college basketball. But no, I'm excited. I'm sitting here in my Yoshi shirt for the YouTube viewers. Got my Sixers bucket hat on. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're checking us out on, Apple Podcasts, we appreciate you, but definitely head over to our YouTube page. We'll be showing you, what OddsJam looks like, how you can use it to, better your betting.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's a good tagline.
So it'll still be audio version friendly, but definitely would like to, OddsJam is a visual product. So want to make sure that people can also visualize it as well. So if you're listening to us on a podcast, hit us up on YouTube. It's the OddsJam Podcast Network. Make sure you subscribe, watch all our videos, and you'll get some good betting content.
Definitely. Yeah, let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
I was just going to give a brief rundown of the what we're talking about today. So the first half will be about college football. So obviously, you got to talk about the rankings. Then we'll get into some of the bigger games, give our picks for some of those games, and then just our favorite plays. And then we'll switch into college basketball, talk about the landscape, the rankings, the freshmen, and maybe do some predictions at the end.
Sounds good. Works for me.
Cool. So I guess we'll just start off with the rankings. Yeah.
So obviously big week in college football. This was the first, right? College football playoff rankings.
Yep.
Obviously, the fans of Cincinnati rightfully have some gripes here. Ranked 6, which is pretty much gives them no chance to make the playoffs. We can just say that off the bat. I mean, unless absolute chaos happens, we would need Michigan State to lose to Ohio State. I say we as if I'm a Cincinnati fan. But Cincinnati fans would need Michigan State to lose to Ohio State and then Ohio State to lose in the Big Ten championship game. But even then, you're looking at a 1-loss Michigan State.
Yeah.
So
it would be tough.
There's no chance. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance. And I'm curious, what you thought about that, because it's been like a couple of years now where Cincinnati's been undefeated and they've never made the playoffs. I know there's two arguments to it, right? There's they haven't lost. So what can you ask them to do? And then the other side of it is, Alabama is going through the gauntlet of playing in the SEC, and Ohio State is in the gauntlet of the Big Ten. So maybe they have one loss,
especially
but they have
the Big Ten East.
Yeah, exactly. But they have 5 quality wins. So just curious your general thoughts about the undefeated lower ranking teams.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot. I mean, it really is a no-win situation, and frankly, I don't think. I think by kind of the middle end of this decade, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a break between the top level and the group of 5 conferences, just because those group of 5 have no chance to make it to a national championship game or compete for one. So I wouldn't be surprised. But as far as this Cincinnati team, it stinks, but you can't say you're surprised. The committee has been consistent throughout all the years in the committee. We haven't seen a non-Power 5 team, I think, even crack the top 4. I'd like to check that, but I don't think they've ever cracked the top 4. Not even some team, snuck in at 4 and then lost in their championship game. So, they've been consistent. They've had opportunities to do it. Like you said, Cincinnati, UCF, BYU has been there a couple times. And even historically, I mean, the NCAA, if nothing else, is consistent in being garbage and being a terrible organization. Yeah. But they are consistent in that, at least.
They know where their paycheck comes from.
Exactly. It comes from Georgia, Alabama,
Ohio State,
Oklahoma,
Clemson.
All that. So,
not this year, but Clemson.
Not this year. But those are, the big schools that, people pay to see. And they kind of stick the lower schools in those lower bowls, which I think is ultimately good for the Boise States of the world. when they had that Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I think it's ultimately good for that. You wonder, is it better to do that instead of, be ranked fourth and get killed by Georgia,
Get
56
smoked,
nothing.
Yeah.
So,
I think, no, sorry, finish your thought.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
I think that the only way that it would work to include them, they'd have to expand the playoffs. And I don't know how that would work, because you'd either have to make it a shorter regular season or the season would go on longer, which would cut into the draft. So like, there's no really good solution, but it would have to make it a longer playoff. That's really the only thing I can think of. Or maybe you have a not as long of a layoff between like the end of the season and like when the playoffs start,
Yeah, it's a long gap. I think in the BCS days, it was almost like 28
days,
it was, if not 5 weeks sometimes.
Yeah, it was like over a month.
Depending on the schedule.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe you get like Cincinnati in at like what they're 7 now. Maybe they upset whoever's the number 2 seed. And then like
exactly.
It almost becomes like a March Madness type thing where like.
Yeah. My take on it is a little bit different than most people. I don't mind the 8 just because, more teams the better, more things to do around the holidays, watch sports.
And more
That's
money.
all I care about. More money. Exactly. Yeah. My only thing is I do not want to see an 8 versus 1 or a 6 versus 2. Those games would be absolute blowouts. It's fine in the college. It's fine in March Madness because it's like a once in a lifetime for like a lower school, some no-name school like JMU to get in and play Oladipo.
Play Indiana.
Play Indiana against like that. That's just one game and it's basketball. You don't have as high of a chance of getting like injured, things like that. So, I think it works for college basketball, and that is a true kind of countrywide, every conference gets a bid. No one wants to see Georgia versus, I'm looking at the rankings now, Wake Forest is 9. No one wants to see Georgia versus Wake Forest.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be crushing. So my proposal to the committee, I may call Condoleezza Rice about this soon.
Head coach of the Browns.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to see 6 with the top 2 get a bye.
Dude, I was literally going to suggest that.
Who are you going to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's like,
well, 6 with the top 2 get a bye.
Yeah, that's what NFL does. Like, well,
NFL,
that's what they used to do until this past year. But then you won't get those like Alabama versus, like you said, Wake Forest or like, or like the Cincinnati's of the world. They'll get their chance. And if like they make a run, they get the opportunity to. But yeah, I like it.
Exactly. Yeah, so maybe we'll put that into the committee this week.
Yeah,
we'll
there we go.
File a memo to them.
Write a letter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the top 4 goes, the only real surprise was that like Bama's already at number 2. Like even with one loss.
Exactly.
Not that I think they shouldn't be, but just that like they're not even bothering to pretend that they're gonna have to work their way up. They're just like, we're putting them in at number 2.
Yeah, just give them that. Yeah, and it's funny. I've heard other people talk about this too. Everything's just artificially inflated to make Bama seem better. Auburn and A&M, I don't know if they have any right being a top 15 team, but because Alabama. Then now you say, well, Alabama lost to only the 14th team. That's their only losses to a top 15 team. But do they have any right being a top 15 team? Probably not.
Yeah, and then, I don't know. In the SEC, it's so tough to gauge how good the teams actually are. Yeah,
I agree. It is tough. So. Yeah, I mean, the committee's consistent. If you're not in the Power 5, sorry, thanks for playing. Enjoy the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, they put the emphasis on the strength of schedule, and I don't necessarily think that's a terrible thing to do because, like,
how can you not with so many teams? It's hard to gauge one team. It's like apples and oranges. So the consistent thing you have there is strength of schedule. So I think it's there. The NCAA is kind of in my like necessary evil bucket. Obviously, nobody likes them, but what are we going to do? What would we do without them?
Yeah, I mean, they just like. I mean, that's a whole other podcast. It's just
not the NCAA, but just the college football, the
committee and all that
the
stuff.
Bureaucracy committee, all that stuff. Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're just like they're an AD just cozying up to the people that pay their paycheck, the boosters and stuff. That's all they're doing with like Ohio State and all them. So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Should we just end this with our predictions?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going chalk. I'll probably go Georgia, Bama. I guess I would probably say Bama would be 1 if you think that Bama is going to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. So Bama 1, Georgia 2. Probably see Oregon sneak up to 3 with Ohio State at 4.
Yeah,
but I'll have a little piece on Michigan State later. A little teaser there for you.
Oh, so, all right.
Little nugget on Michigan State for you.
Yeah, I have that exact same thing. I literally have the top 4 in that exact order. I think that Bama's going to beat Georgia. Georgia will still get 2. And then I do think Oregon's going to win out, and they're going to stay at 3. And then Ohio State will win out as well. They'll beat Michigan State, and then they'll get the Big Ten title.
Yeah, I agree. So that would give us Ohio State versus Bama, Oregon versus Georgia. That would be fine. Good matchups.
Yeah, I mean, it would still end up with Bama and Georgia, but that's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what we're headed to. It's inevitable at this point.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, like, it's the best 2 teams. So like, why try and make anything different? That's kind of where I'm at.
Exactly. Yeah, but we'll see. This week, I don't really expect chaos. To shake up these rankings. I only have one top 25 team on my upset alert, and they're really not in striking range anyway.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We can get into the slate. There's only one game where both teams are ranked. That's or Auburn at A&M. I think that's 13 versus 14 or 13 versus 12.
Yeah, it depends on what you go, AP versus the college football. But in the AP, it's 11 or it's 12 versus 13.
Yeah, that's what I had written down. Yeah. That's probably what I was going off of. Yeah. I mean, do you want to get into that game, or do you want to talk about anything?
Let's jump into it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
let's jump into that one on OddsJam. We can show the odds, see where there's value plays in that game.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to share your screen?
Yep.
I'll pull it up on mine as well. We got and this is at A&M, right?
This is at A&M. That is correct.
Okay. So we got Auburn at A&M. I'm seeing the spread at Texas A&M minus 4.5.
Yep.
And money line, you can get them at, what is that? Minus, I guess the best odds I'm seeing on the money line are minus 179 at WinBet. The OddsJam perfect line has it at minus 203.
Yep. For A&M, minus 203, plus 168 for Auburn. I don't know here. I think I like A&M. I don't know if I would necessarily bet the game, or at least, the spread at this point. So you see here, you have the perfect line at minus 112 for A&M minus 4.5. With, the best odds not being that much better than the perfect line.
Yeah. You're getting it at like 0.02 difference. Which isn't that great. Yeah. I think as far as the matchup goes, I mean, taking the spread out, I do think A&M's going to win. I just think they're better. I mean, they got the win over Bama. They're kind of hot recently. And I don't trust the Bo Nix. I think, like, watching him play, he never just drops back and passes it. He's like the typical like college quarterback who, like, even if with a clean pocket and an open receiver, he'll run around and then he'll just try and do something crazy, which does work in college. But I do think eventually when you play the stiffer competition, that stuff doesn't fly.
Right. When you play real defense, that stuff doesn't work out. And another note, I mean, A&M is coming off a bye. Auburn's had 3 straight ranked games: Georgia, Arkansas, and last week at Ole Miss. I mean, to their credit, they took care of Arkansas and Ole Miss. But you have to think that would be a factor.
Yeah, that's true.
Ole Miss last week, tough game last week. A&M coming off a bye, had that extra week to recover.
Yeah, that's true. And both teams are kind of coming in hot. Look, A&M's won their last 3. Auburn's won 4 of their last 5, with the only loss being against Georgia, which you really can't fault them for that. So, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good game. But if I had to put my money on it, I would take A&M, at least to win. I don't know about cover, but
yeah, exactly. I mean, not a ton of value. You could maybe parlay it with something if you're into that. Not a ton of value. Minus 185, not terrible, but again, you're feeling comfortable. You could probably find, use OddsJam, find some good lines. The best line right now I see in Pennsylvania is at MGM for minus 185, which isn't terrible value.
No, yeah, that's not bad. And me and being in Virginia, I had the best one at WinBet at minus 179. So, I mean, as far as the positive EV goes, it definitely favors A&M as far as like the difference between the perfect line and what you're getting it at. But it's still not a ton of value.
Yep. And I was looking at the spread for this game right now. The main line's right around 49 and a half. I don't know. I think, Oregon, Auburn, has been tracking over that for a while. A&M not so much. So I think it'll be an interesting game. Again, I think it may be a little hectic with Bo Nix kind of doing his thing. So I don't know if I necessarily actually love the over here.
Yeah, looking at just it does, again, the perfect line does kind of trend towards the over.
Yeah,
and I can see it. I mean, like the style of Bo Nix, how he plays quarterback, kind of, I don't know. To me, that just trends towards overs, which is why you mentioned that they've been trending towards the over recently.
Yeah.
Because either it's a crazy play either way. Either it's like crazy, like, a huge game.
It's just
for the
a lot
offense.
of possessions. When you have more possessions, you're more guaranteed, or you're more likely to score, whether it's more possessions for your team or you're giving the ball away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so does, like, 49 is a pretty low total for a college football game, because the way they have the rules where the clock doesn't keep running after it, like, only runs when the ball gets set. Yeah, that's a pretty, and I don't know. I mean, looking at A&M's last 3 games, would have gone over that total. And then 2 of the last 3 for Auburn would have gone over that total. So
right.
It looks, I mean, to me, I think there's a better play on the over both 49 and 49.5. There's positive value there.
Yep. Yeah, I think definitely an SEC line with that 49.
Yeah,
you'll never see that in the Pac-12. That's for sure.
Pac-12, that you're getting the 70s.
Exactly. This is the first half line.
Yeah, that's a Big Ten line, the 49.
49, exactly. Yeah, this is Big Ten. This is SEC football. But again, Auburn, I don't know. Auburn never really, to me, screams SEC football. When they had Cam Newton, that whole thing, and A&M even kind of the same thing with Johnny Manziel.
Johnny football,
Johnny football. So that brand of football, typically hasn't trended towards the typical SEC. Again, which is probably why they never got over the hump of, winning
Bama.
the SEC.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, Bama. Besides the kick 6, but that's really it. So yeah, I mean, it should be a good one. 3:30 CBS, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
So should be a really good one. But yeah, definitely check back on Odds Jams to see how the line's moving, see where there's value. I found it interesting that the first half point spread is 3 when just the game spread is 4.5. So found that a little interesting. But if you like that, head over to Odds Jam and find the best lines.
Yeah, I think I think we've kind of covered most of the positive value. So just to get a prediction on board, I'll take A&M to win and cover, and I'll take the over 49. All
right. I will take A&M to cover, and I will take the under 49.5. I'll probably buy that extra half, but I'll take the under 49.5. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, cool.
We'll start next week with a recap of last week. See how we did.
And how we did. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So which one do you want to go next? I'll let you choose the next one.
I wanted to go to my underdog pick, the only top 25 team that I have on upset alert, and that is Oklahoma State.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
OK State is playing West Virginia. I just feel like Oklahoma State always kind of due for that upset. They're always, I feel like every November they're in striking distance, and by the end of November they're out of striking distance of the playoffs.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're always hanging around there and then never eventually get over that hump. So they are on my upset alert. I actually like West Virginia plus 3.5. There's actually some good value on the perfect line here. You can get it at Bet Rivers for minus 108. Even if you want to buy some extra points here, some good value on like 4.5, 5, things like that. So pull up my notes here.
Yeah. And just to give the odds on it and stuff. So it looks like the line you're getting is Oklahoma State minus 3.5. And then the total looks like 48.5, I think is the over under.
Yeah, I do like the over there. I mean, again, that seems kind of short. The perfect line is actually trending towards the under, which I thought was really interesting. Perfect line trending towards the under. Fox Bet, you can get it at even money. So if you do like the under, there's some value there. Yeah,
I love that at even money.
Yeah,
I can see it. West Virginia's, I feel like always just shows up for one of these games. It's hard to rule them out. And is this game in?
Games in West Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought.
It was a line when I was looking through the game. I don't like Oklahoma State to begin with. It was a line that kind of just screamed at me as I was scrolling through OzJam. So, the money line plus 150, minus 165 for Oklahoma State. And I thought to myself, that line is just telling me something. It was like a sign from God, sign from up above.
Yeah.
That the line was telling me something. I mean, what other top 15 team would be this short of a line when they're playing a 4-4 team?
Yeah, that's true. And just looking like Oklahoma State, they've had some pretty good wins on their schedule. I mean, they won against 3 straight ranked teams earlier in October, Kansas State, Baylor, and then Texas, and then they lost to Iowa State, and then they just beat the crap out of Kansas.
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me. They had 1 week of a get right game after Iowa State.
Yeah.
And even Iowa State was not the team that they were in the beginning of the season when they
they're
lost.
Ranked, they're ranked now, and they were unranked when they beat Oklahoma State. Yeah.
So West Virginia just beat Iowa State, so they're coming off a big win.
Almost looking like a letdown game for West Virginia, or sorry, for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, for Oklahoma State, exactly. Yeah. I think they see that they're in striking distance. I mean, really, if they beat Oklahoma somehow, that could propel them, to right around the college football playoff. So that would be an interesting kind of shakeup. They're just never seem to me to be a team that gets over the hump.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're always there.
Oklahoma.
They're always. Yeah, I know. They're always
Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be. I mean, Oklahoma losing to Oklahoma State, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world. Eventually, when that game happens.
Right. I could actually see like Oklahoma State winning today. Now they're feeling all happy, or I'm sorry, Oklahoma State losing this week, feeling, kind of down, and then all of a sudden beating Oklahoma. And their fan base saying, well, if you didn't drop that game to West Virginia, look where we'd be.
That's like such a Penn State thing to do. Like you lose that, lose that like terrible game that you're like, why could, like, if you just not lost that game?
Exactly. Yeah. They're another team. They can't seem to get over that hump.
Yeah.
And that hump is Ohio State, so I guess we won't hold it against them too much. But
they just always seem to
can't get over.
Have some just blow some awful game. Like leading up to Ohio State, they're like ranked. Where they when they lost to Indiana, they're in the top 10. I know they're top 10.
They were top 10. Yeah, because the Big Ten East had 4 teams in the top 10.
Yeah,
they had Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State.
Yeah, and Penn State. Anyways, not that we're talking about them, but I like that. I think it'll be a good game. So it looks like another 3:30 game. This one you can catch on ESPN.
Yep.
The next game that I had highlighted was the name value isn't as quite as good as the game actually is going to be, but that's LSU at Bama.
Yeah, that was another one I was thinking. Again, the name value.
It's just the name value. Yeah, I mean LSU, when that national title run was always kind of fool's gold as far as sustained success, because Joe Brady left, Burrow left. They had every single offensive weapon they had left, and then last year they kind of showed like they're not really one of the powerhouses. And gotta love Coach O, but he's just not quite the not quite on Bama and that level. So
this line.
Yeah.
My word.
Yeah. Take that money line.
Take that money line. That's where you just, take your shoebox under your bed, throw it in the money line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so the spread's trending at about Alabama minus 28.5. There's not a ton of positive expected value on them. And that spread is a lot. So, but to me, I don't know. Saban is kind of reminds me of like he's like the Belichick of college football, where he remembers all his losses and he takes them personally. So he got smoked by LSU 2 years ago with the Burrow year, and then last year they played, and I was all over Bama in that game when they had the rematch last year. Bama won 55-17. And granted, like this year's Bama team obviously isn't as good as last year, but I just think this is going to be a game where Saban's going to be like, if they score more than 10 points, you're getting whipped after the game.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to call up Lane Kiffin and yell at him just for the hell of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, this screams Bama again, kind of a get right game, coasting game until they get to the SEC championship game.
Yeah, exactly. And just kind of what Belichick does to the Jets, just pummel, like every time they play, just absolutely pummel them and let them know that you're not playing on our level.
Yeah. So value here on the over. Perfect line definitely trending to over. So perfect line over 66.5 is -112. You can get it at Rivers or at a lot of the other ones at -104.
Yeah.
If you want that extra half a point, the over 67 is -106 at OddsJam. But again, Rivers, Barstool, even money. So, perfect line trending to over. So if you like that as well, you can definitely find some value there.
Yeah, and that was one thing I wanted to highlight as well. I like the even money at the over 67. So you're basically buying that half point. But to me, getting anything that's like a plus money positive expected value is kind of like you're getting that perfect line is minus. You're getting it at plus even money or above is always where I like to go. So I would choose the plus 100 at over 67 as opposed to the -104 over 66.5.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if it hits exactly, then you just push. So, and this is a game where like I could see Bama hitting the over by themselves almost.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're thinking, 50 something points for Bama, maybe 10, 17, if they squeak in for LSU, then you'll be looking good there.
Yeah, exactly. Like the game last year, 55-17, obviously that over would have hit. So yeah, of everything for this game, definitely over 67 is my favorite play.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
All right. I'm going to take us out west for Oregon versus Washington.
Awesome. That was what I had next to. Well, a lot of these people, the football scouts, don't watch these West Coast games, so they need to make sure they need to make sure they have people like us that can watch the tape for them, so they can kind of compare notes.
Yeah, people like us who stay up until 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I know it's really late for a lot of NFL scouts, so which is why they don't get guys like JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Yeah, no scout watches those West. They don't have a West Coast scout or anything like that to watch those games.
Exactly. So my official play here is Oregon -6.5. You can get some decent value there. Again, perfect line trending towards Oregon there, -6.5. I actually have a little nugget for you. Little head coach rivalry this week between Jimmy Lake of Washington and Mario Cristobal of Oregon. So Jimmy Lake, head coach of Washington, was asked if he was asked if he considers Oregon a big recruiting rival, that they kind of split recruits. And Jimmy Lake said, well, we kind of look at schools with better academia as like recruiting rivals, like Notre Dame, Stanford, USC, things like that.
I saw that. So stupid.
Yeah. Mario Cristobal was not happy about that. I think that's some bulletin board material. Again, not the only reason why I'm betting Oregon. I think I like Mario Cristobal a lot. I think he'll have them kind of prepare to focus. Again, it was a big week for them, coming in at number 4 in the rankings. So again, they're right there in striking distance of the playoffs. So I think he can use that to motivate his team, where some teams may crumble. If they don't have a strong core, may be looking ahead to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I really like this Oregon team. I mean, they beat Ohio State at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And then their only loss was a bad one to Stanford, but that was at Stanford. That was in overtime, so you can kind of excuse them. And then I thought they showed some grit in that comeback win against UCLA a couple of weeks ago, where they were down early and they kind of came back and they pulled it out in the end against our favorite head coach, Chip Kelly.
Yes, our favorite head coach / GM.
Yes,
Kelly.
Of course, can't forget about that. So yeah, and Washington, I mean, they had that magical year when they went to the playoffs. Like, what was that, 5 years ago, when they got smoked?
They got smoked. They get any team that comes in 4, like usually it's like a Pac-12 or Big 12 team, they get smoked.
Get smoked, yeah. And they really, I mean, and then their coach, and then their coach, like you said, Jimmy Lake, giving Oregon some bulletin board material. I'm all over Oregon in this game.
Yeah, I can't say I'm an authority on, West Coast academia. But I would imagine those two schools are pretty on par.
Oregon's a good school.
Oregon's a good school. I didn't think of Washington as on par with like Stanford, USC, Notre Dame, which are the schools that he mentioned.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was really weird.
It was so strange. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, it was like there's no reason to just give another team bulletin board material like that, especially when it's not even. It's not like Stanford saying it, which would make a little more sense.
Right.
Wasn't that Stanford like the whole nerds versus jocks thing? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I forget. Was that against Oregon? Was that or is that you?
I think it was against Oregon.
Yeah, where like one of them called them like nerds, and then they beat them, and they all dressed up in like suit and tie, like tucked in shirt and stuff.
Yep.
I miss those days. Now that's a taunting penalty if someone does that.
Yeah, now it's 15 yards, automatic ejection.
Yeah, exactly.
Over under for this game, 51 and a half. Perfect line trending towards the under, actually. Well, it's hard to say. They're close money. This one is tough, and I think this is the game I was thinking of where Oregon has been trending over, Washington sort of trending under in their latest games.
Yeah.
So again, not really Pac-12 line, only a couple points higher than the SEC game, the Auburn game that we were talking about. Not really a line you would think of when it comes to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Again, the perfect line kind of trending over a little bit, but not terribly over.
Yeah, it's interesting because if I hadn't done any analysis and I would have just looked at the line 51, I would have been like, well, that seems obvious. Like Pac-12 or Oregon, just like, I mean, I don't know, I can't get those Chip Kelly days out of my head from Oregon. They're just an offensive, just absolute fire, just powerhouse. Right. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the over is trending a little bit on the 51. I'm seeing the biggest play as far as just positive expected value on the under 51 and a half. It's not huge. Yep. It's just, I mean, the perfect line has it at minus 114. I see the best odds. You can get that at minus 110 on BetMGM, which isn't a great, I mean, it's not a ton of positive expected value. So it'll end up being a no touch for me probably, but I did think it was interesting that the value trends towards the under, because I would have thought without any research, just thinking about the game, I would have been like, oh, that's over. That's obvious. That's easy over.
Exactly. Yeah. And I wonder if it's one of those games where they make the under so low to bait you to take the over when they know it's going under anyway. Yeah, it does scream. It does scream that. Yeah. So we'll see. Again, it's on my no touch list as well. So yeah, I think of a play for this game, I'm taking the Oregon spread. Okay. I'll get them at 6.5. That's the best expected value. Highest positive expected value, I should say. The last game I had on my notes, and I don't have a ton of analysis on it, was the UNC versus Wake one. Okay. I thought that was interesting that UNC's favored, even though Wake is undefeated, and UNC's kind of have an up and down year. Right. I think the last I saw, and you can, if you can find that, pull it up. Yeah, I'll pull it up. Was UNC, or maybe I'm like mine is 2.5, so not a huge favorite. And I don't know, I just thought it was interesting because how Wake Forest is having like a banner year for them, obviously being undefeated and smoking. Not that Clemson's that great, but still smoking them. And North Carolina kind of having a down year, especially going into the year. Howell was getting some Heisman love. People were expecting him to be. He's on the list of candidates that could be the next quarterback that makes the Burrow leap in his last year. But yeah, not that great year for UNC. Right, and Wake as the underdog. Found that a little odd, for being honest. So what was your play there? I'm sorry, I was pulling up the other one. No, I was saying that I was surprised to see Wake be the underdog in this game, considering they're undefeated and UNC's kind of had a down year. I mean, top 10 in the college football playoff rankings. I mean, nobody that you or I could really, at least before the season, could mention on Wake Forest. Not really a well-known team. No, not at all. Again, plus 2.5 there for Wake Forest, and even the perfect line trending towards North Carolina, which is interesting. So this is this is a game that feels like a trap just based on the spread. You're like, an unranked team favored against a ranked team. Okay, I'll go. I'll take the ranked team, and then it's like you said, kind of like the over under for the Oregon game. They're baiting you to do it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like they know something, and they know that UNC is going to cover here. So again, this would be a game, if I hadn't looked into anything, I would just be like, okay, take Wake Forest, take the money line, like they're going to win. But like, as you said, the perfect line is trending towards UNC covering, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, if they put Wake Forest, they set the line Wake Forest minus 2.5, I think you'll see ton of people in North Carolina like, oh, this is an upset pick. And, the sharps there, but putting it at 2.5 makes you kind of take a step back and wonder,
what do they know?
What do they know that we don't? So, and they know a lot. Vegas knows a lot. The odds jam perfect line knows a lot. So,
well, if you
I like that.
If you just go off of how UNC's trending, so they've been alternating wins and losses since week 3.
Okay.
So maybe it's just as simple as that. So week 3, they beat UVA, lost to Georgia Tech, beat Duke, lost to Florida State, beat Miami, lost to Notre Dame, and now they play Wake Forest. So maybe it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just win every other game.
I mean,
yeah, and this is a game where you talk about the total. This has a Pac-12 total. It's right now I'm seeing it at like 76, 76 and a half, 77.
It's starting at 66 and a half.
Yeah, that's when it's a
that is insane.
And the best part is it's trending towards the over too.
Right.
And it makes sense.
Trending toward good.
Well, no, if you look at like the most recent games between these teams, so Wake Forest played that game 70-56 against Army.
Yep.
UNC just put up with over 80 combined points between them and Notre Dame. Wake Forest just put up 45 last week against Duke. It's a crazy high total, but if you look at how these two teams have been playing, you can understand why.
Yeah, exactly. These two teams, not a lot of defense I think will be played.
No,
obviously not. So, these teams are up and down styles. That's kind of how Wake Forest has, their brand that they've been playing this year. And it's nice to see that Wake Forest actually has like a brand of football.
Yeah. That quarterback
in a while. Yeah.
Really taking a leap. Hartman or whatever the guy's name is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm taking the over 76. Perfect line has it at -122. And I'm seeing the best for me. I know this is, I think, only Virginia, but I can get that at -110 at a win bet.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I see -118 here at Bet Rivers, but
yeah. So still positive, but not as good.
Yeah. You can get -110 for the over 76 and a half, which again, kind of better odds than the perfect line. And if you love the over, you can get 77 and a half at even money.
Yeah. And that's still, it's still all, you can, just looking down the list, if you're watching on YouTube, everything trends towards the positive value is towards the over.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah. Again, you wonder if it's the flip of what I said. They're baiting you to take the under when they know it's going over.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to just take out all the football analysis and just whatever Vegas is telling you, just go with that.
Yeah. And that's what we'll do here. We're not going to go over all the slate games, but as we're searching through OddsJam, and we encourage you to do the same. We'll have a sign up link for y'all if you want to check out OddsJam. You can use our link. We'll put it in the bio in the podcast and YouTube, and it's been flashing up on the screen here. Encourage you to check out OddsJam. You can get a 7-day free trial. Again, just browse the lines. That's how. Again, it's hard to check for every game. It's hard to know everything about every team in college football, college basketball. So as you're scrolling through, you may see some lines that just jump out at you. Like for me, the OK State line jumped out at me. For you, was the Wake Forest line. Again, a top 10 team that's not favored. You're like, what the heck's going on here? So OddsJam is a great tool to help you kind of look at those lines and see what Vegas is telling you.
Yeah, and that's my favorite part about OddsJam is like if you go to the positive expected value screen, it gives you all those plays for you. You don't even have to think about it. Especially if you don't want to mess with player props. Like I know I normally keep it on, but if you turn off player props, you can just get spread, money line, and point totals, and it gives you the sharp plays. Like for me, just to give you like a teaser, a game we didn't talk about, but one of the highest positive expected value is the over on Georgia versus Missouri. The line is at 59. And the OddsJam perfect line has that at -129. And the best odds you can get that are at -110. So you don't have to pull it up or anything, but that just
I was gonna say you're gonna make me spell Missouri, which it was never my strong suit.
Yeah, fair. And I wonder why.
Maybe
I just need to refresh. But either way,
I check the screen all the time.
Yeah, I kind of just cool. Yeah, it gives you plays that you wouldn't think of, and that's why we've been able to use it to profit.
Yeah,
cool. All right, so I guess that'll end our college football segment. Is there anything else you wanted to get off your chest?
Yes, I love it's my favorite. So I'm going to do one every week. An after 10 p.m. game. I love a nightcap.
Some
And after
paction?
10 p.m. paction, even some waction, some
Oh, dude,
West Coast.
and some I mean, this isn't West Coast, but some action.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like we have San Diego State at Hawaii at 11 p.m. I mean, does it get any better than that?
No, it does not get any better than
that. So I did see, I liked USC actually buying a couple points. I like USC given 10. I saw some good value there. So I don't hate USC here. I don't like them to win, but I like them to keep it close. I just think some weird things happen after dark. And I've seen some games, Arizona State kind of drop the ball here and there. I can't definitively say that one team's that much better than the other. Kind of 4-4 versus 5-3. So I was going to take USC, buy a couple points for +10 and get some good value there. -122 at Bet Rivers, and the perfect line would have it at -133.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, neither of these teams are that great. So buying the 10 points. I mean, USC's obviously they're nowhere near what we watched them at when we were growing up, but still, I mean, it's still still USC.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. And then the last thing I have for college football, I teased it earlier, a team future. If you love Michigan State, which I don't think you or I both do, there's some insane value on them to make the playoffs. What did you see it? What would you guess their line is to make the playoffs?
I didn't see it. I mean, if I were to guess it, I mean, I'll definitely plus money. I don't know, plus 200,
plus 900.
Really?
Plus 900 to make the playoffs. So if you love them, actually, plus 800 to make the playoffs. I believe it was plus. So to make the playoffs, plus 800. So again, some insane value there. If you love Michigan State,
wow.
I mean, who's to say they can't beat Ohio State? I guess anything could happen. Ohio State, just thinking of a couple of years ago, talking about Penn State, they dropped that game at a last second block field goal.
So, I mean, they already beat Michigan.
Yeah, they already beat Michigan. They're feeling good. What I wanted to call it here, kind of, as I've been using OddsJam, my mindset has switched to kind of line discrepancies. So you see here, plus 800 for them to make the playoffs, but they're plus 900 to win the conference. And you think to yourself, how could they make the playoffs without winning the conference?
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we kind of teased the scenario earlier that if they lose to Ohio State and Ohio State loses in the Big Ten championship game, now you have a one-loss Michigan State whose only loss is Ohio State versus, a 12-0 Cincinnati. Who knows what's going to happen there? Who knows what would happen there? But again, if you love Michigan State, you really believe in the team, they're not going to make the playoffs without winning the Big Ten title. So that would probably be a better line at plus 900.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah. It's always interesting finding value and stuff like that. And to me, that the thing that jumps out was this past year when the Suns were up 2-0 in the finals. I guess I should say the Bucks were down 0-2. The line for them to win the series was, I forget exactly what it was, but it was let's say plus 250. But then you could get odds on Giannis winning MVP at plus 350. So if they're going to win, of course he's going to win MVP, and that's obviously exactly what happened. So that's a good point. Definitely something to look out for is a line discrepancy like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, and if you love Northwestern to make a run here, you can get a plus 100,000.
I mean, you just put in some dart throws. I mean, one of them's going to hit, right?
Exactly.
That's funny. Cool. All right. So
college football. Yeah. Coming down to the wire here.
College football slate. Yeah. Excited for stuff to keep going and just to kind of see how everything shakes out.
Yeah. All right. So then, crazily enough, as if college football wasn't enough, we just had the World Series, obviously NBA, NHL full swing. College basketball starts Tuesday.
I know
with a large slate, kind of a quantity over quality type thing, but there are two big games. We have Michigan State versus Kansas. Kansas is ranked, I think, number 3 in the standings. Number 3 in the standings. Michigan State is not ranked, but they were I think they were essentially 26th. They received the highest amount of votes to not be in the top 25.
Interesting.
So we'll be a good game. Kind of a fun thing to do on a Tuesday. Again, there will be probably some action on Tuesday. But yeah, have some college basketball to look forward to.
Yeah, I love it. Club going up on a Tuesday.
Exactly. We have nothing better to do. I mean, the only two things I really like are sports and money. So that's why I like OddsJam.
Yeah, it combines them.
Helps bridge the gap of the two.
Yeah, for me, I like data and numbers in sports. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to talk too long about college basketball. I did want to just give like a brief discussion on like the landscape. So like the top 5 teams, and then like some notable ones, like Gonzaga number 1, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
UCLA number 2 is not surprising after their Final Four run. Kansas at number 3, they're always up there. Your boys Villanova at 4.
My team Villanova.
Yeah.
Texas that is actually a little surprising though. I wouldn't lie.
I mean, they just got blasted by COVID last year. I feel like that's you can almost. I mean, so did Baylor, and obviously it worked out well for them. But some teams just couldn't recover from it. And then running out, Texas is 5, and then Michigan I wanted to include is number 6 after their year they had last year.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. You have Kentucky there at the top 10. Kentucky's returning actually the most amount of starters I think ever with John Calipari.
Interesting.
They said they're returning a combined like 5,200 points from last season
of that terrible team.
Yeah, exactly. It was a terrible team, but yeah, this kind of goes back to the old argument of what's better in college sports. Is it continuity? Is it guys returning? Is it just churning guys out every year?
Yeah,
which is what Cal has done. So this will kind of be a shakeup for him. It'll be interesting.
I mean, when you think about it, how many one and done teams have won a championship? I mean, Coach K's won once in the one and done era.
It was Anthony Davis here.
Yeah, Cal. Yeah, that's the one that Cal won. Coach K won it in the Okafor year.
Right. And
then every other team, like Baylor, was filled with non-freshmen. Villanova, when their 2 runs were never really freshman focused. No. What else? UVA, obviously, they had super seniors and Kyle Guy. Like UNC won it. So like I don't know. I think this will be a good example of like Kentucky being better now that they have more continuity. And I know they also dipped their toes in the transfer portal, which is rare. They did
a ton of transfers,
which they normally don't do. Yeah. I mean, last year, I don't know. You can almost wipe the slate clean with a lot of teams. How weird last year was.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Duke at 9 isn't surprising. I thought Baylor being at 8 after they did win the championship, but they lost a ton of talent. And then UNC at 19, I thought was interesting. The first year after Roy retired.
Yep.
And then
Roy not doing the victory lap like Coach K.
Yeah, weird how Coach K
victory lap.
Yeah, we can talk about this later, but one of my biggest hot takes is Roy Williams is a better coach than Coach K.
All right, we'll save that. We'll put it in our back pocket.
Yeah, if you look at
that sounds like a February topic.
Yeah, when the season's when like the dog days, football's over.
Exactly, the days of college basketball.
Yeah, I'm just saying, look up the stats when Roy Williams joined UNC, and then look at how successful they've been since that date.
All right. What about USA basketball?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You got to include USA basketball.
USA basketball.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
And then some freshmen.
Either way, it's like a 1A, 1B type situation.
Yeah, exactly. And then some freshmen I wanted to highlight. Chet Holmgren for Gonzaga is just like, he's a 7'1" lanky dude who can like handle and stroke it. Yep. He's a monster. Amani Bates for Memphis. It's one of the top recruit. And then the big recruit for Duke, Paolo Banchero is supposed to be, he's like could be like, the next Zion as far as Duke player that goes number 1.
Yeah. And then you have Drew Timme back.
Yeah. Drew Timme's back for Gonzaga. Yeah.
I think he's all over the futures for most outstanding player, things like that. He's right atop the leaderboards there.
Yeah. That's not that surprising of him because I mean, that kind of is how it works. It's just like, a senior comes back and then, like with Luka Garza last year.
Yep. Yeah. Chet Holmgren, I saw all over kind of the freshman of the year futures.
Yeah, that guy's
if you like any of those, he will be. Yeah. So if you like any of those, again, probably preseason's time to lock it in before they start going on a tear.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Yeah. When people watch them play, that line's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Yeah.
So we have Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke. I don't see a ton of lines out there, so maybe we'll check in early next week, give you some predictions. Again, maybe jump on live or something and go over Odds Jam to see where the value plays are there. Then late next week we have some good games. Yeah,
that'll be fun. Yeah, the Kentucky
next week we have some good games. Nova UCLA next Friday, and then Gonzaga versus Texas on next Saturday. So we'll talk about those next week.
Yeah, some top 10 matchups. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm not seeing many lines either. Just confirming what you're saying.
Yeah. I was gonna say one other notable player I wrote down was, just because I like the name, Ty Washington Jr. for Kentucky.
Okay,
so a point guard. Yeah,
I like
it. And then the only other team I wanted to note was I saw some good value on their futures to kind of make the Final Four. Arkansas.
Must bust.
Must bust. Stable coaching. Kind of, they've been building off of their success every year. And they have a stud Miami transfer. 5'7" guard.
They lost the one guy, Moody.
Yes, exactly.
Moses Moody, the guy they lost. But they replaced him, like you said, with that stud they got, this transfer.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll check in next week with some good lines, hop on Odds Jam and see where we can find you guys some value.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm excited to college football is heating up, college basketball starting. It's an exciting time for us, the sports bettors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll be we're pretty much set all the way through March, actually really early April with sports now. So we're excited. We'll be with you every step of the way. Thanks guys for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Music or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and we will link out to OddsJam with our promo code for you guys to sign up. And talk to you guys next Friday.
Yeah, that sounds good. Happy betting, happy watching. Thanks for listening. Take it easy.
Yeah.